Hi, we're going to talk about business level strategy today and what that looks like for an organization as they're trying to decide where they fit in the marketplace. So, what we'll talk about is the idea of what is business level strategy, why it's important, discuss how it connects to our relationships with our customers, really identifying who are our customers and how are we going to fit into their lives and into the lives of all of the potential customers in this market. We'll talk about different models and how the five forces, using the five forces model, explain how cost, leadership, differentiation, and focused strategies are all applied in organizations. So first of all, what are we talking about? We're talking about opportunities and threats in the external environment and how they influence the company's decisions as to where we put our product or service into the market. We have to consider the quality and the nature of our resources, our capabilities, and our core competencies. All of that connects together when we're talking about business level strategy. Really, we're talking about the idea of where do we fit in the marketplace. It's integrated and coordinated set of our commitments, our decisions, and our actions as we decide how to gain a competitive advantage by exploiting those core competencies in a specific product market. So we know that we should have internal analysis of who we are, what our resources, what our core competencies are. We've talked about the value chain and how the importance of understanding what within our organization provides value. As well, we need to integrate with our supply chain folks and how we get our product into the market and where we place ourselves. That'll make a huge difference in how we position ourselves. So as a reminder, core competencies are the things that we do better than other people. Our strategy is really taking these actionable decisions, considering our core competencies in a way to gain competitive advantage in the marketplace. And that's really what we're doing as we talk about business level strategy. How do we provide value to customers and gain competitive advantage by exploiting what we do well and competing against those that have other things they do well. So let's talk about customers for a moment. Obviously our number one strategy is how do we reach customers? How do we connect with them? Where are they, and how am I going to provide this product or service? Am I going to sell it on Amazon? Am I going to sell it through wholesale into retail stores? Am I going to sell it directly to them? Am I going door to door and selling, etc.? So it's our access and our connection to our customers is what we're talking about by reach. Richness is the depth of the information we have between us and the customer. What do we know about them? Who are they? Where are they? What are the kinds of things they do? It's always best if I can figure out how to get my product or service into the customer I've identified as my target customer. I want to know where are they and how do I get myself into their lives without them having to relearn or reach out to find me. So that information that we know about them and how they feel about us, all of that is very important, and that's richness. Affiliation is our interactions with customers and how do we expand that and make that valuable to them. So firms strengthen our relationship with customers when we provide better value, obviously. And when we provide that better value, then we have higher customer satisfaction and we create a more positive relationship with the customer. It's easy to think about it in the context of when you don't have a positive relationship with someone that you've purchased something from. You're not going to be more likely to have a relationship with them or to give them more information or to have them know more about you or to even repeat have repeat experiences as a customer, which is what they're striving for as an organization. So we give a lot of weight to customers when we think about our business level strategy, and these are some really important things to think about. So we have to decide who are we looking for? What needs will we be serving? What do they need? And how will those needs be satisfied? The relationship between a firm's customers and our strategy is to survive and achieve strategic competitiveness. Firms have to create this value for their customers and in order to be successful. So who is so what we need to really think about is who is the customer that we're going to fit best with, where are they, how do we meet their needs, and how will they be, and if we know what their needs are, then how will we know if they're satisfied with our organization. So when we talk about who in determining customers to serve, the first step is to identify customers based on the differences in two different market segmentation. So we're going to look at our consumer market and industrial markets. So when we talk about segmenting the market in this way, we're talking about how am I going to reach those customers? So I've talked about Spicy Guys as a product I sold, this flavored pretzel. Oh goodness, that kind of all got weird there for a minute. Sorry. But when we're talking about this customer segmentation, I created this spicy pretzel. I sold it online. I sold it at festivals. All of those types of sales were direct to consumers, and that's the consumer market we're talking about. But I also wanted to expand into retail stores. And to do that, I hired a distributor. I worked on a plan of how am I going to position myself in a retail store. Think about a convenience store that you walk in and think about how many items you have in order to make a purchase. What are the needs? What's the need you have when you walk in that convenience store? Generally, we're talking about some kind of snack. My original partner used to talk about our competitive space as other pretzels. And I continuously said, I think our competitors are anyone that wants a snack where we're at, and we need to position ourselves that way in that retail space. So when I'm selling into retail markets, I'm thinking about the customer, but my first level customer is the retailer. I want to meet their needs. The very first convenience store I ever went into, the manager said, I'm going to try you out. I liked helping small mom and pop type businesses, and I will put you in my store. However, tell me how you're going to service me. Tell me how you're going to make sure there's no stockouts. Make sure, tell me how often you're going to come by here. Make sure there's no expired products. And because they're meeting their customers' needs, and when there's an empty spot on that shelf that I didn't meet, it's likely that they're not going to continue on with me. So I had a different expectation from those retailers. And it also depended on where I was going to place myself in the market. But I'm going to talk about that more in a little bit. So table 4.1 in your book talks about basis for customer segmentation, thinking about the kinds of things we know. When we talk about competitive strategies, we're thinking about things like, what do we know about these consumers? Where are they? How old are they? How much money do they have to spend? What do they do? What kind of lifestyle do they have? What kind of consumption patterns? Do they spend a lot or a little? I want to know the most I can about my customers before I decide where I want to fit into the marketplace. So when I'm talking about my customers' needs, sometimes I've worked with entrepreneurs who feel like I don't really know what need I'm meeting. And that sounds silly if you're studying strategic planning in a course, but in reality, when I'm taking a pretzel and saying I'm going to sell this and promote it, what need is the customer really having? There's not, it's not a higher level need. It's really just as basic as providing a snack when they want a snack. That can be a need. And my product needs to align to that. You'll see that I've sold or you can know that I sold 8-ounce bags or 3-ounce bags to compete with Frito-Lay. I didn't try to place a 20-ounce bag at the convenience store that wouldn't even align to that consumer needs from a retail space or the consumer. And so our needs are not right or wrong. They're not good or bad. It's just really important to recognize what they are in order to fit into the market best. And so as we think about how we're serving them, then we're going to think about, okay, now what's the relationship I want to have with these organizations? So your book has these models, and I'm going to go through these really fast because we're not going to study a lot about them, but they're interesting for you to understand the idea that we can have very different models, meaning in the way that we provide information or services. So a freemium model is when we provide a basic product to the customer for free. We earn their revenues and earn profits by selling a premium version. So you see lots of apps that do this freemium model. Games will do that on your phone. Dropbox or Adobe PDF Reader are free services, but if you want some premium capabilities, then you pay for that. Advertising model is such that for a fee, I'm going to provide advertisers with high quality access to target customers. So television networks or Pinterest might do that. If I'm going to place an ad, I can learn more about the actual customer base and get more benefit by understanding those consumer needs. Peer-to-peer model is when we match those wanting a particular service with those providing that service. So Airbnb does that. They're a peer-to-peer model. Fiverr is that. Somebody provides services, somebody else says, I need services, and all we're doing is providing a platform. We could also suggest that Amazon in its early days did some of that peer-to-peer modeling. The others are franchise, subscription, digital platforms. So franchise business model is where we've licensed our trademark out and someone can purchase this store or this product. They have rights to that trademark. They receive royalty payments from those sales. So that's one model. Another is a subscription model. Netflix is a subscription model. We provide our products out on a basis once per month or once per year, or depending how we ask them to pay annually or monthly. And a digital platform business model includes social media platforms like Twitter or LinkedIn. It's really when we're going to provide our service out. There's some Cricut services that do that, that we can receive as a consumer internet-based information that we pay for in a variety of different ways. So, and so that's the basic understanding around business models. And then I'm going to talk about the competitive scope and what we're talking about related to business level strategies. So there are two different things that we're going to think about as we think about where do we fit in the marketplace. So are we broad in our scope in that we serve everyone? Walmart would consider themselves very broad. We can go to Walmart and you will see people at all different levels of income in that store. The firm competes in many customer segments, and we also can see this very narrow scope or niche when a firm decides we're going to only service, kind of put ourselves in the place of certain types of organizations that are very narrow. So we might see personal trainers that are focused on expecting mothers, or we're going to see law firms that specialize in, let's just say, helping single dads in divorce situations. Or we're going to see physical therapists that only work with children. Those are all kind of niches, catering niches, home repair niches, people that just help a certain type of people. So think about broad and narrow. And I'm going to go back one slide because I missed it. And then what is the potential cost competitive advantage is the second area we're going to think about when we look at where we fit in the market. So we're going to talk about cost somewhat. Are we trying to hit and be in a really low cost as compared to our competitors, or a high cost and a premium to our competitors? So when I started Spicy Guys, I had to decide, am I going to put this in a high-end packaging, in a nice high kind of maybe beautiful packaging, resealable bag, put it out into stores like Home Goods, kitchen aid stores where we'll see spices and things that are higher end? Or am I going to put it into a low cost packaging and provide it at a low cost at places like gas stations or grocery stores? So those cost decisions, we're going to go into these five different types of business strategies here in a minute, but these are the two areas that are really important. Where are we going to play? Where do we want to place ourselves as in the competitive landscape for cost, and then niche or broad scope? And so this is the chart that's really common. You'll see this a lot of places. And I will move myself over here. So we'll look at the basis for the customer value being low cost or distinctive. So we know that when we're distinctive, it'll cost us more. And then we look on the down the left side, broad markets and narrow markets, and we'll decide where do we fit here. So we get to choose where in these, as a firm, where in these five different strategic areas do we want to be? So a firm choosing to compete across a really broad market determines maybe it should compete in a number of customer segments, and that competitive advantage is achieved either by offering a really unique product, a differentiated strategy, or by establishing this low cost position and providing a more standardized version of that product at a low price, the cost leadership strategy. Firms that choose to compete in a really narrow market segment select either a focused strategy, which can either be focused differentiated, so few segments, unique products, or a focused cost leadership strategy, which would be a narrow segment, standardized products, but at a low competitive price. And then we also have this integrated cost leadership differentiated positioning, which really incorporates both of these emphases, and we'll talk about those in a minute. And I'm going to go over these in more detail in videos that are coming up. But none of these five are right or wrong. They're not superior. They're just the reality of where we've placed ourselves in the market. So that's an overview of business level strategies at a high level.